Have you woken up and come down to find blood on or near your female puppy and thought, oh my God, they've injured themselves, and then you realise that actually the blood is coming from down there? I hate to tell you, but your puppy is maturing and this is their first season. It can be a bit frightening for you as a new puppy owner when you don't know what to expect, so I'm going to cover off what happens during the first season, what to expect and what you can do to help. I'm Laura, owner of Dragonfly Products, your one-stop dog channel, and this is Dolly, my 8-year-old Cavapoo, who's thrilled to be included in the video. When do dogs experience their first season? The average, so most dogs will experience their first season between 6 to 12 months. This does depend though on the size of the dog, on the breed and genetics. So a smaller breed dog might experience their first season between 4 to 6 months, whereas a larger breed dog may not have their first season until 18 months to 24 months. So it does depend on the size of the dog. The heat cycle lasts approximately 2 to 4 weeks, obviously dog dependent, but the fertile period is only about 7 to 10 days. The first part of the heat, where the blood is most noticeable and brighter red, is the phase where your dog isn't actually yet fertile. The fertile phase tends to be about 7 to 10 days in, when the discharge becomes lighter, more watery, more straw coloured. That is the phase where your dog can get pregnant. But I would always use the entire heat cycle as a danger period for this. What are the signs that my dog is in heat? Well, the physical symptoms are a swollen vulva, so the vulva swells quite dramatically and may start to produce a bloody discharge to begin with, that then will get lighter as the heat progresses. For those of you that don't know where the vulva is, I will show you. Dolly's going to be thrilled at this demonstration. So the vulva is also referred to as the hygiene area, and it is just that little bit down here between the legs, below the tail and below the bum hole. That is where the vulva is. In some dogs, the vulva is quite pronounced, particularly in shorter haired dog, you can see it a lot easier. Dolly's is quite inverted. I will explain in a little bit more detail about that, but at least you know roughly where the vulva is and what to expect. I feel like I'm on some kind of weird challenge as to how many times I can say the word vulva in a video. You may see frequent urination, so your dog may start to go to the toilet a lot more prior to heat. That may make you think, something's going on here. Obviously, there's not just physical signs that your dog is coming into heat, there are behavioural signs as well. She may start showing more interest towards male dogs. She may start presenting herself. This means that your dog sort of adopts a stance and may offer up her back end to male dogs. She may seem more interested in them, sniffing around them. Sometimes they'll exhibit some kind of humping behaviour as they get a little horny. Your dog also may become more irritable. Ladies, you hear me? Yeah, she might just be a bit irritable and a little bit grumpy and a little bit off her food, and you're thinking something's not quite right here. That can be a good sign, particularly if that's coupled with something like a swollen vulva. It's guaranteed that she is coming into season. Changes in appetite and energy levels. Your dog might go off their food or start eating more food than usual. They may want to stop going out, snuggle down, just generally be a bit grumpy. So much like us when we've got PMT. It's not that different. So just those little signs and symptoms are something to look out for. How often your dog has a heat, again, depends on the size of them. Usually it's twice a year, every 6 months. That's kind of the average, but smaller breeds can have 3 to 4 heats per year, whereas larger breeds may only have 1 heat per year. Usually, if you don't have them spayed after their first heat cycle, it will become more regular and you should be able to judge it a little bit easier as to when it's likely to come. How much blood are we expecting? We're not talking about a female human period here, we are talking about a dog's season. It generally is spots of blood. Earlier on in the season, the blood may be redder, thicker and more noticeable, and then as the season progresses it becomes watery and lighter. I personally would be protecting my floors and my furnishings. You don't want blood spots all over. You could assign them to somewhere like the kitchen that's got hard floor where the little blood spots can easily be mopped up, But if you want to have your dog enjoy the familiarity of their routine, if you allow them on the settee, if you want to be able to cuddle them, you can get dog diapers. So they're just little pants that you put on your dog to help keep the blood from spotting around your house. It's a little bit controversial. People either love or hate them. There are two reasons for that. One is that dogs should be able to clean themselves. So during that period, they do have a need to clean their genital area, and stopping them doing that isn't teaching them how to keep themselves clean, keeping the area dry. A lot of people feel that you should let this happen naturally and your dog keep herself clean. However, younger puppies in their first season, they might not know what to do. They might not clean themselves. So dog diapers is really useful in that case. And if you are not keeping them in an area that has hard floors and the potential is they're going to damage your furniture, then I think the dog diapers are a great idea. I can see both sides. If I was using doggy diapers, I would have on and off time. So I would be putting the diapers on when I was having my dog in my lounge with me on the sofa having cuddles, but then I would allow them to have diaper off time. So I'd be popping them in the kitchen for a couple of hours with their bed, maybe just with a little sheet or a pillowcase on it so I can easily wash that and get the blood off that, rather than keeping them in diapers 24/7. That would be how I would do it. Let me know what you think and how you would handle that. Nowadays, you can get disposable doggy diapers and you can get reusable doggy diapers, both of which I think are a great idea. If you haven't got the money to spend on that, you could even use a pair of children's pants. Not quite sure how well they'd stay up, but I have seen people doing that on Facebook groups and whatnot, and they recommend it. That might be something you could do if you didn't want to be spending money on specific doggy diapers. Should you walk your dog during their heat cycle? Well, yeah, it's a long time for them to not go outside, not have any exercise. The key things when you are walking your dog is keep them on lead. Do not let your on heat dog off lead. When a female dog is in heat, the scent can be smelt for up to a mile by male dogs that are not castrated and may be looking to breed. If your female catches wind of a dog as well, they might bolt. At the end of the day, when they're in heat, their sole purpose is to breed. That is what they want to do. This is particularly dangerous if your dog is having the first season, because for a first season they should not be getting pregnant. They're way too young and too immature to be breeding. So it's really, really, really important to be a responsible dog owner. Keep your dog on lead, keep them with you in sight at all times. I personally would avoid areas where there are lots of dogs. You potentially could get caught out. So I'm talking dog play parks, indoor play centres. You can hire secure fields. That's such a great idea because you could let your dog off for a good run without worrying that they can escape. But the key thing is to keep your female dog away from male dogs when in heat. But they do need their exercise, they do need their stimulation. You could cut down their walks and do more brain games with them in the house, which will help to mentally stimulate them. If you've got a secure garden, again, make sure it's secure. A dog that's on heat wants to mate, so if they can get out your garden, they are highly likely to. Make sure during that period as well that you have got a collar and tag on your dog in case they bolt, in case you lose them. At least they can be easily identified then by their tag. Behaviour changes are highly likely to occur. During my period, I'm an absolute treasure to be around, and your dog is the same. So your dog could be more aloof than usual, mardy, a little bit irritable, a little bit snappy, or they could go the other way and be extremely needy and want you all the time, want to be on you, want to cuddle you, want affection and comforting. They can go either way. It is dog dependent, but do be prepared for those behavioural changes. Another behaviour that can be seen is aggression or mounting. Some dogs may start to mount objects in the house, their toys, their beds, and display dominance. If you've got other dogs in the house, they may start to display a dominance over those. So that is just something to look out for as well. Can my dog get pregnant during her first season? Yes, absolutely. They've reached sexual maturity. They can physically get pregnant. They are too young and immature to, one, manage to have puppies and know how to care for them. Two, I believe it'd be quite cruel. Three, they may not have finished physically growing, so there may be issues with them delivering puppies. So just don't do it. Just put safeguards in place so that your puppy cannot get pregnant on their first season. Should you spay before or after the first season? Should you spay at all? ooh, this is controversial, I'm giving my opinion. Please be aware this is my opinion and what I've experienced having talked to a lot of vets and nutritionists and the people within my sphere. This is how I have formed my opinion. Dolly, 8 years ago, it was recommended to spay your dog before their first season. So Dolly was spayed at 6 months. I would never, ever, ever do it again. The reason for this, and for me personally, one, she has not stopped gaining weight. Her weight gain has been ridiculous since we had her spayed. She should be around 7 kilos, she's 10 kilos. I know what I'm doing. I deal with nutrition day in, day out. My other 2 dogs are in perfect shape. Dolly is not. We've had every test under the sun, and the only conclusion that myself and my holistic vet can come to is that she was spayed too early. The hormones hadn't had a chance to regulate or reach maturity, and this is having an effect on her weight. She is also a Cavapoo, so she's a King Charles Cavalier mixed with a poodle. Cavaliers are notorious for weight gain, so there is that element there of her breed. The other thing as well is she has an inverted vulva. So when a dog has the first season, the vulva swells dramatically. Because Dolly's never ever had a first season, her vulva has never swollen. They never go back to the original size, the tiny little vulva that they had. They always stay slightly bigger. The problem is Dolly's never did that, and it stayed very, very small, which now means the hair around her vulva, God, I'm talking about vulvas again, the hair around her vulva goes into her vulva. It sort of curls under into it. So when she has a groom, her groomer has to manually sort of remove the hair and keep it trimmed very, very short. It's not the end of the world. It does irritate her sometimes. Sometimes when she's scooting, I'll have a look and I can see that sort of the hair around that area has clogged, and sometimes I have to trim it for her as well. So I would not ever spay a female dog before their first season again. And that's from personal experience. However, because I would never have wanted to have bred Dolly, I would have had her spayed about 3 months after her first season. That's what they recommend. If you think that the heat cycle is around about every 6 months, so waiting 3 months after that first season, it's in the middle of it. And that is when I would be having your dog spayed. If you want to breed your dog and you don't want to have them spayed, that's absolutely fine. You will just start to learn their cycle and learn when it's due, because it does start to settle down after that first season. Please feel free to leave comments as to whether you agree with me, disagree with me, what you chose to do, what you're thinking of doing. It's great to have the discussion. I do just ask people, be respectful of everyone's opinions, because within this arena of dog health and nutrition, there are a lot of opinions. They're not all right, they're not all wrong. I like to sort of see the in-between and give a balanced view. Do you need to increase their food intake during their season? No, you absolutely don't. They are perfectly fine as they are. They may seem more hungry, or they may go the other way and go off their food. I would keep little treats and things in for them, you know, just to try and comfort them and make it a bit more of a pleasant experience. Things like frozen licky mats are really good, long-lasting chew toys. You know, it's just about making sure that they're happy and comfortable. If they want to eat, great. If they don't want to eat, that's fine. It is a short-term thing. The behaviour of being fussy can last beyond the season. It is really important while they're going through the season not to start to pander to the behaviour. If they're off their food, they're off their food. That's fine. Leave them to it. If you start trying to tempt them with more and more high-value food like sausages and chicken and whatnot, when the season is finished, they're going to want the chicken. They are not going to want to go back to their dog food. So just be mindful of that. Don't think, oh my God, I've got to get my dog to eat because they're going to starve. They're not. It's just a behaviour. So that's just one word of caution to you, not to give in to the I'm not eating behaviour. And so that's everything from me and the incredibly exciting Dolly. She has snored her way through this video, I believe. If you found this video somewhat useful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. I've just noticed that my dragonfly has been sticking out of my head for this entire video, but I'm not re-recording it, so ignore the dragonfly.